G'day everyone, Kate Fantanell or Lady Liberty here. I have just come back from meeting with my team of lawyers. I am still here in Perth, Western Australia. We had the state election on Saturday. The result is possibly worse than we could have expected. So I am so glad that I launched my legal action challenge back in February with my team of lawyers who have looked at the gun laws. They've looked at the legislation and regulations. This morning I went in and I met with the King's Counsel as well, Jason McLaurin and Ben Dickens, who are my team of lawyers who have taken on this case with me as the client. So this morning I went in and we went through the Act and the regulations line by line. Line by line, it's been a big day, and we identified areas that the King's Counsel is now going away to write his official letter of opinion on where they believe we can have the biggest success in challenging these laws in the courts. I've been getting a lot of messages today and a lot of support, so thank you to everybody who has donated and shared my fundraiser. I wouldn't be able to be in this position if it wasn't for you, the people who have gotten behind me and gotten behind this David and Goliath battle that I launched, because I did not think there would be a political solution at this election. And unfortunately, I wish I was wrong, but I was right. We do not have the option now in the upper house. A lot of minor parties and the Liberal Party and the Nationals were promising a review of the firearm laws. That is not likely to happen given the makeup of the upper house, with Labor and the Greens holding that majority. So we're in the worst position that shooters ever thought we could be in. I'm devastated, but I am so glad that I made that decision to go ahead with this legal action challenge and not put my hat in the ring to run for office against Police Minister Paul Papalia. I am in a stronger position now because I made that risky choice. So what happens now? I am getting a lot of messages and I apologize. I will get back to you as soon as I can, but this morning, like I said, I went in and met with the King's Counsel and my team of lawyers. We went through the Act and the regulation line by line. And the first thing out of my mouth was, I want to challenge the limits on the number of firearms we can own, the limits on the number of private property that we can own. There is no limits on anything else in this country. This is the first time there has been limits on private property in Australia. So that is one thing that my lawyers are looking at right now. So as soon as I get this advice on that particular area, I will be making it public. As I've stated this whole time, I have waived my client privilege to this information to share with you, the people. We also had a look at a few other things. I'm not going to go into too much detail now because I want to wait for this letter of opinion from the King's Counsel. We discussed a lot. We discussed storage requirements, the mandatory health check form that's come in as well, joining clubs, people who wanted to just be a hunter and go out to properties and help farmers, but now farmers have to have only 5 property letters. We talked about that in detail as well. So there are other areas we are looking at, but the big one, because I know this is what's hurting people the most, is the limits on the number of firearms we can own. So that advice, it will take about 2 weeks, hopefully not that long, but it is the biggest piece of legislation and regulations in WA. It is a very, very, very big piece of work that we have to get through. I have been working on this the whole time as well. I've been in communication with the lawyers. I have also been hearing stories from you, the people who have shared with me the position that you're in because of the new laws. I will be sharing that with my lawyers too, so we can look at this more broadly and how it's affecting individuals. So what happens now? While we wait for this letter of opinion from the King's Counsel, as I said, this letter will identify areas where he believes we can have the most success in WA courts. This is WA court challenges, not High Court. There is another fundraiser, of course, who's looking at constitutional law. That's fine. If you can support him, please go ahead. My challenge is going to be taken to the Western Australian courts. I just want to make that very clear. So what happens now, and what can you do to help me help you? So in the meantime, and this is the directions that my lawyers gave me this morning, the seizure letters, the confiscation letters that you were getting from WAPOL, please, I've had a lot of people send them to me. Feel free to keep sending them to me. Take photos of the firearms that they want to confiscate from you. Keep your receipts Go to your gun shop, get that receipt for how much you paid for that gun, because remember, we are now looking at confiscation without compensation. The WA Labor government has closed that buyback, so there is no monetary value coming in from the government for your private property. They've made them worthless with the stroke of a pen. My lawyers could not believe that this is the situation that we're in, but yet here we are. So if you have received a seizure letter, I know we have until the 31st of March, and I will be getting this advice out as soon as I can in relation to what we can do about that. But hold on to the letters, hold on to your private property, get the receipts, gather the evidence, because, and this is the key point here, my lawyers and I are looking at a class action. That's right, there is class action laws here in WA now. So we are seriously considering, because of the number of people that this has affected, this is a route that my lawyers and I will be looking at within the next 2 weeks, along with all the other things I mentioned before. So if you can keep donating, please do, because it's going to cost a lot of money. This is just the first step. And this was such an important step. I cannot stress this enough, because we have not had any lawyers from any side of town look at this for us. There has been no approaches from anyone who has gone to that side of town. The justice system, everybody was focused on the political solution. I said, please, for the love of God, can we please have a backup plan? We need to engage the lawyers and the legal side of town, and a King's Counsel. That is his job, to look at laws and regulations and identify if it can be challenged and struck down by the courts. This is something that I am doing for you, the people, and I would not be able to do this without your support. So if you can keep donating, please do. And please have a think to yourself, if you are in the position where you're over the numerical limits on guns, or if you've been a victim of the regulations and Christmas Eve that banned push button release and other guns as well, without keeping the confiscation buyback open, have a think if this is something that you would be keen to pursue with me helping you. So I have the team ready to go. Like I said, Ben Dickens is the lawyer. That's the law firm I've been working with, Carter Dickens Lawyers. And Jason McLaurin is the King's Counsel, who has taken on this case at a risk to themselves. So in the meantime, I know everybody is still very worried. We only have until the 31st of March, and I made that very clear to the lawyers today. I said, I'm sorry that I've come in so late in the game, but I had to fundraise this money. It's taken me over a month now to get that money together. I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm not a shooting organisation. I don't have big donors. I don't have any organisation, political party or business bankrolling me. All the work that I do is with the support of your donations to the cause. So thank you for getting behind me. I was very worried for a while there that I wouldn't make the target and I wouldn't be able to help the people. And I'm so grateful again. I'm so grateful to everybody who supported me financially. This is when we need a team together, and I've been able to do that with your support. So, like I said, if you are in a position where you have a confiscation letter or a seizure letter, keep the evidence. Feel free to email that to me, ladyliberty.wa@gmail.com, ladyliberty.wa@gmail.com. Send through any information. I'm gathering evidence. This is what I'm doing now in preparation for a potential class action. So gather your evidence, send it to me. I will look after that, and if you give me your permission, I can share that with my legal team and we can go from there. So in the meantime, I've got my team of lawyers working on the advice that we must get. This is a missing piece of the puzzle. I'm so shocked that no one has done this part of the work. I know it's hard, I know it's expensive, but if I can do it as an individual just by passion and motivating people and trying to be a shining light of hope in very dark times, the election, like I said, it's worse than we could have predicted. So I'm glad that I've had the support of people who did not buy into a purely political solution. We cannot just rely on the Parliament, and we definitely can't now, knowing the makeup of the Parliament after Saturday. So thank you for your support. I will be bringing you information as soon as I get that document from my King's Counsel. I will be sharing that information with you, but I'm preparing for a class action. So gather your evidence, keep it, send it to me, and we will go from there. So thank you again for donating. Thank you again for supporting me. I will keep fighting for you. I love WA. I love shooting. That's my community. So thank you, and I'll bring you an update again as soon as I can.